Hi, so on my continuing series on mental illness, I have a mother and daughter duo, probably a blessing because Weri wrote to me, Cookie, K-U-K-I, not like the biscuit,
Thank you so much.
you know, for crying out loud. Are you still baking?
No, in fact, when my dad died, because of how close it was, they did the deliveries and I fell apart. In fact, Eric...
And nothing has happened since
yeah,
then.
like after that, in fact, the baking she was talking about, like I spent the rest of the year baking on and off, but I lost, like it was now tied. They were now things that were around each other.
And makeup artist, and what else?
Makeup artist, beauty consultant. I actually sell women's products, so facial cleansers, moisturizers, and natural makeup.
It's very important for me to do this. I don't want you to be known as bipolar 2,
Yeah.
and bipolar 2 junior.
Yes.
You know?
And anxiety.
And anxiety. But
Yeah.
here's what I want you to do for me. There's a mother who's not like yours or your other 3 mums.
Definitely.
Yeah. Who's looking at her son or daughter and thinking, what's going on here? What 3 things could you ask that mom or dad to look out for?
Okay, so I'm going to start with kind of a summary of my story during that 14, 15, 16, 17, because those were probably some of my hardest years. So 14, I know one of the things I went through at that age is I discovered cutting. So before you even learn what's wrong with you, you're finding all these other ways to cope with it. And because mom was also sick, and I'm not a crier, I'm not the type who, when I have an issue, I'm going to go and tell mom as a complaint. Like I'll go and I'll have conversations with my mom, but a lot of the time she knows it's not so that she can fix it. It's just that because she's opened our relationship, there's a certain way she set it up so that if you know the way kids come home and they tell you about their day, I do that with my mom until today.
Until today.
Yeah, because of the kind of relationship we have. So even if I'd have a hard day, I'd go and I'd talk to her, but the way I was dealing with it at 14 was that I had discovered cutting, and that's where I started. And then...
You know you're coming back, so we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so at 14, there was the cutting.
And wearing the long sleeves and...
Now, that was one of the things. Because of my personality, I didn't feel the need to hide it. I was one of those people who you could come and you question me, and I'm like, yeah.
I took a blade to it, so...
Do you have anything construct? Because at that age, it's mostly your friends who will notice. Because it's, in fact,
actually, a lot of parents, that's what I'm saying, you're coming back.
Yeah, it's your friends who notice, and so they look at your arms and they ask you, but there's not much they can ask past.
Yeah,
why
they
did
know
you
you're
do
cutting.
it? Yeah, because
I've been looking at your arms.
Exactly.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's okay. But so now at 14 there was that, and then 15 now it was the thing for my dad. So there were all these things that I was learning about him, and I was like, I don't like this, and this is toxic, especially because even I was very self-aware because of my mom. So there are things that she'd say or she'd do, or even because she made me a reader, like an avid reader. My parents were those people for, what do you need so many toys for? Here are books. And so my books were actually more than my toys. And so because of being so aware, even at 15, when my dad would do certain things, because I wasn't living with him, I'd be like, that's toxic and I don't need you in my life right now. And I'd tell him, especially when I went into homeschool now at 16. Now, because now there was nowhere I had to be except home.
So what should a parent notice? That there are people you disengage from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the first things, because I know that's something she noticed, and she had to be very careful about it because she knew what I was reacting to, and she knew why I was reacting the way I was.
So literally being plugged into your kids is important.
Yes, but she wasn't pushing, you know that thing but he's still your dad. She wasn't pushing for that. She was like, yes, you've recognized.
I'm trying not to roll my eyes. No, the things really shouldn't say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because she knew why I was reacting the way I was to what I was reacting to. And so she was like, as much as he's still your dad, what I expect from you is that you continue to respect him, but you don't have to be in constant contact. You don't have to go out of your way to accommodate him in a space that you know.
He's a grown-up.
Yeah. And then, so there's the disengaging, and then there's the cutting, because it's very easy for it to go under, because it's not something most parents notice. And then and then for me, I was very, not really confident, but a very don't care person, because I'm so confident in myself that even if you came to question me, I'm like, okay, so now what? So mine would be on my arms, but I know people who cut on their thighs, places that your
Nobody
mom
can see.
Yeah, because your mom will see your arms when you're in a top. She'll not see your stomach, because at what point? Your thighs, at what point? Even your legs, especially if you're not a skirt person.
For a session.
No problem.
So we're at 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, so
you're being homeschooled.
Yeah, so 16 I'm being homeschooled. Because they're both artists, there was a certain way, one, they would homeschool me. They'd be very, these are your grades. In fact, one of the things my mom has constantly told me is that, may I have my grades? It's up to you.
Yeah, to get yours.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she'd move on. And then for Eric, he was relaxed, because when it comes to like, my stepdad, when it comes to like math, I go and ask him, he explains, we move on, like that. So it flowed very nicely. And being homeschooled at that age was really nice also, because he was getting a lot more into the art scene because he's a photographer. And so we'd go for a lot of art events. I'd meet all these wonderful people. And so my school experience, these were like school trips for me. So yeah, so if there's an opening like on a Friday evening, I make sure that week I did my work, and then we go. And
but for a woman who has 4 children, you see, Eric and your other 3 moms and 2 dads, they were plugged in.
Yeah.
What should a woman who's thinking, I have 3, 4 children, at this point, what do you want her to be keen on?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. One, I think whether you have 2 children or 7, you need to be plugged into each and every single child's life. It doesn't matter how many you have. It doesn't matter how much it takes, because it's something that it is you're their mother. They will not have another mother, and even if they do have another mother, their relationship with that mother will be totally different from the one you have with them. So be plugged in. Make sure that you leave an open door. Your child should be able to tell you almost anything.
Yes.
Without them feeling like
judged,
they're doing the wrong thing. Yes. They need to be able to you need to be the first or one of the people they come to when they have something they need to discuss.
Okay.
It may not even be something deep.
No, it doesn't have to be.
It's just
and
like
even to add
stuff.
on to that, that open door thing really helps, because of who my mom is, my friends ask me questions to ask my mom, because they can't talk to their parents about the same things.
Yes. So you have
countless times.
As a mother, it's not negotiable. You have to have that relationship. You have to build it. You have to build be open. Yes, you have to
the reason
build
I'm
it.
nodding so vigorously is that when I spoke to a security expert, he said, from the moment somebody finds out that if your child tells you something, you will not believe them,
yes,
you open the door to a predator.
Yes, you do.
You do.
You do.
Because they'll do something to your child,
yes,
and they know that you will not listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And more importantly, if they are open to your child, your child will be going to them.
They become,
instead of coming to you.
True.
Yes. So one, you have to be plugged in. Doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You just have to make that time. Find a way to do it.
Watch them.
Yes, watch them.
And especially that.
And watch and listen. Second thing is be unapologetic about being in their space. We kept her Facebook password until she was 18.
Ah!
Yes.
I'm gonna give it to you, mommy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We were
unapologetic.
Yes. Be unapologetic.
But you know, there's been a gasp around Kenya right now.
but
yes.
One thing I want to note is that she wasn't in my account 24/7.
No, she wasn't.
In fact, even during that period that she's talking about, until today, I'm friends with my mother on Facebook.
Yes.
There's been another gasp around the country.
Yeah,
yes.
So I know people who block the entire family, cousins, sijui who, everyone. Me, I'm friends with, even, in fact, I have some grandparents who are on Facebook, and the only reason I'm not friends with them is because I'm like, okay, sometimes I share things that they might not want on their timeline,
yes.
So there's no point of putting it on their timeline. True. But otherwise, even when she doesn't like something, she'll point it out, but it's not, she'll be doing, like, I don't curse around my mom.
Okay.
She knows I curse.
But yeah,
sometimes I
mean,
will
come
cuss
on.
her.
Even my parents know I curse.
Yeah.
I don't do it around them.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm Catholic. There are things we don't do.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there are even times that I do cuss around her, and she's like, it's just like an expression of that at that point.
At that point.
Yeah,
Yes.
like it's an like you're
Yes.
expressing yourself, but it's not the constant like a string
Of explicit.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it's not that way. And because of that, it never made me feel like there was nothing I couldn't express to my mom without her helping me.
Yet she was unapologetic about being in your
Exactly,
space.
and how
To date, actually.
until today, because
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
fact,
madam, you're 19.
Yeah.
We know you
Yes.
can vote, but you're still got teen at the end of your
Yeah.
age.
Yeah, and,
It's
and
okay,
more
have a
importantly,
few
as we
months.
keep telling her, as we keep telling her, is that you see, we are still responsible for her life. We will still need to let her go bit by bit, but as long as we're responsible for certain things in her life, we will be in her business. Not badly, but we will be in her business.
and one other thing that I keep remembering and then forgetting is that I had to be very conscious because, and it's something that she mentioned to me and then I became conscious about it, is that your parents grow at the same time as you.
Yeah.
So I know one of the biggest things, because it's the one that always comes to memory when I think of that, is like sleepovers. They used to be like, why do you have to go to another person's
Yes,
house
where are
to
you going?
sleep
So you
over?
have a bed here.
Yeah, in fact,
you
that
go.
was
Like
one
you.
of the biggest ones. But eventually, she realized that my friends used to have a lot of sleepovers, and because of the school dynamic, we used to be put in age groups, not grades.
Yes.
So because of age groups, there were people who are older than me, younger than me, and so they've gotten to different places. And the older ones will be like, yeah, let's do a sleepover. And they'd have mixed sleepovers, like with boys and girls. And I'd be like, Mom, I want to go. And the first time she was like,
I don't think so.
okay,
Yes.
it's nice to want things, great.
Yes, if I
And
want
then-
a jet.
Yeah, exactly. It was something like that. And then the next time she's like, are there going to be, is it mostly girls? And you're like, yeah. And then now she started allowing me to host sleepovers.
Ah,
Yeah.
I mean, I like you.
But
you.
it still grew past that because people can't just always come to my
To your house,
How
I
come
get
I
that.
never go there?
Yes.
Because their parents will start asking, why
But how old were you by then?
They're never coming
But how old
here.
were you by then?
It was still during that period of 14 and 17.
Yes.
Yeah, so even at that point, because of that growth thing, every time I'd ask and she'd say no, I'm like, it's okay. Because what she would encourage me to do is to always ask. So if there was a sleepover next week, I will still ask, even though last week she said
The
no.
answer was no.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
it's true. We
eventually-
grow at the same time as you. In
Yeah.
fact,
Yes.
when you raise a child, you raise yourself.
Yes,
do.
and you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who stays in that air of, okay, but us, we need to go for these things.
That's just nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, even the way I talk to my mom, I've had to have conversations like this with some people's parents, because it even gets to a point where I'm that child who people's parents are like, okay, I like her. And they're a bit uncomfortable because I'm very outspoken and
yes.
very open. So if somebody's child wants to go out, they'll be like, are you going with
With
Cookie?
Cookie.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I become that person because one, I've never, like, unless I'm in really big trouble, I've never felt the need to lie to my mom. And even she knows that eventually, even if it takes 3 months, I'll be like, so you remember that time I got in trouble? And the whole truth just comes pouring out of my mouth because I don't know how to lie to her. And it's something
Right.
that she's built. It's something she worked very hard to do. And that's why we talk the way we do, because she was aware that she was growing at the same time as me and that she had to grow with me. So if mixed sleepovers were now a thing, she'd have to decide how she feels about it and how her feelings are going to affect me. How whatever decision she makes based on her feelings are going to affect me. Yeah. And so that really helps. So I think it's not just about being plugged in, because you can know a lot about your child. You can know your child inside and out, but also your reactions to them, like not shutting them down when they bring something that makes you uncomfortable. Because I've noticed there are even times where I can physically see that she might not want to talk about something because she's a bit uncomfortable, but she doesn't tell me to keep quiet. She
No.
doesn't, she
Yeah,
doesn't
let's
make
go
it
there.
a taboo subject. She lets me finish. She corrects me if there's any correcting. She guides me where I need guiding, but she doesn't make it sound like you really shouldn't be talking to me about this because I'm uncomfortable.
But you know what you have done as well? You've validated to all of us that mom, being bipolar, has not stopped her from being a great mom.
Yeah.
And I think that for me is the big take out from this conversation?
Yep.
Okay.
That you are in no form, shape, or manner less just cause you have a mental illness. Because there are people who don't have your condition who are not as plugged in as you are, girlfriend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think she also knows that because sometimes she'll be dealing with one of my friends who's dealing with something their parents did. And so she's actually opened her home, and she's not one of those people for anybody can come over. Like, she'll be like, if you guys are friends, they can come. In fact, I have a lot of friends who are like, I want to come talk to your mom.
All
It's
right.
not about visiting you. Please, you can
Sounds
be
like
home.
my mother. I meet people who are like, you know your mom. I'm like,
Mm.
so do we have other siblings?
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
In fact, because she's on Facebook, if I do like a status that I find really funny and then she comments something, she will get more likes and reactions than the actual post, because
Which is why
she's my mom.
you and I having our own session without her.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
You
truly,
need to.
because it doesn't matter what space we go into together. Because I mean, we've gotten so many. You guys look like sisters, and I'm just there like, okay, great, thanks.
Now you walked in and she was the Smurf. Come on.
I'm just there like, okay, sawa. Or even how we relate, because
Yes.
even our conversations. In fact, I've been corrected so many times by other adults who think I'm being rude to my mom.
Yes.
Even in front of her, and mom just
Yeah.
sits there smiling because she's like, I'm not even going to start correcting you. So me, I just sit there, I look at them, I'm like, okay, but it doesn't
Something
bother
else
my
I
mom.
want to say for your mom and for every mom watching this is that her situation has not stopped her from being a great mom. But also, it has not also inhibited you from creating an amazing young lady. She's confident. So your illness has not crippled her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you see, another child will think, hey,
Yeah.
people are going to know something's wrong with my mom. And then
Yeah.
you are. So well done to you as well
Thank
Yeah.
you.
for being very clear that mom is different. She's not like every other mom,
Yeah.
but she's my mom anyway.
Yeah. And I say it like that. So sense of, okay, so now my mom is sick, right?
Yes.
And I think one of the other reasons why it's never been that big a deal is also my friends are not people who will be like, for real, your mom is like that. Like,
I love the for real.
Yeah, because there are people who genuinely will be like, okay, but I've been fortunate enough to have people around me who are like bipolar, and even if they don't understand what that is, they're like, her mom's bipolar, and that's something we need to take into account if there's a situation where they need to take it into account. But it's never been a taboo for them. And also the people I surround myself with are very aware about mental illness within themselves, the people around them.
But there must be a different generation.
It is,
Yeah, because it's not ours.
But
It's not
I-
ours as issues.
and
Serious issues.
but I think even yours, we have the same issues. It's just that you guys are less. In fact, I noticed when you said we're a drinking nation, and how you'll have half, like, you guys will be like, no, we're not. Honestly, what are you talking about? And then there are the people who will be like, yeah, we drink every day. In fact, which is now my generation, who are very
Aware.
They're not just aware. And it's not that they're okay with it, they just acknowledge it. They're like,
Got you.
we drink, we have anxiety, we have depression, we want to commit suicide. And so it starts conversations. Because if I see my friend posting certain things, I'll
You
be
know.
like, yeah, and
You can see it.
Yeah, you're just
we
there.
can't.
Yeah,
Yes.
We can't.
exactly.
Unless you're in that situation yourself.
No. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We can't tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm being a bit more conscious, which is why I was saying I need to know.
Yes.
Good people, I'm borrowing your daughter.
No problem.
But I want to say thank you. Our time is up.
Thank
But
you for the
I'm hoping
opportunity.
in every home, in every family, there is a new conversation being born.
Yes, that's actually what the goal of most of everything, that a lot of the things that we do together as helping other people is,
Yes.
is to start conversations. Like you don't even need to agree with us now. Like, it's fine. You can go and come back, and it's about planting a seed, and
It is.
for it to be in the back
You
of your
planted
head.
simple.
Yeah, thank you.
Bless you.
Farmers.
So we're ending, and then I'm having a separate conversation with Cookie.
Yes.
Bye. Subscribe. Share this video.